Good evening, Mr. Davidi.
Ciao, everyone.
We are very moved. We have just finishing to see your movie, and after 5 broken cameras, this new work is really telling us many things about your country, and I think we are understanding many things tonight that are not so obvious and so well known. And so, thank you, first of all, for both of your movies, and thank to also to Bloom Distribution that allows us to see your movie now. I was very moved, impressed by all these diaries, and I was wondering when at the end we hear the voices of the boys and girls of these diaries, and it appears that they want to be heard, they want to be read, they want their voices are not lost, like a sort of last victory, moral victory. They die, but they die for a reason. At least we can know what they thought, what they went through. And I was wondering if these words were kind of a first inspiration for you.
Um, uh, yeah, it's a hard word to say inspiration from so hard text because I think it's a mistake to take this decision to commit suicide. So I was when I started the film, I knew that I'm gonna be touched by a lot of the words, and I knew that I'm gonna find words that speaks to me a lot, and of course. Especially Ron Adler's text is the first one that I'm actually the person who reads them in the first part of the film. He was a poet. He wrote real poetry, and so when I crossed his words, I just wanted to include as much as possible from it, just his reflection over different things, and I could not even do that. He has beautiful things that are not included in the film. Um, so yes, I wanted to give them some presence and to give their voice to be heard and to be out and to be listened to and also to have beauty. And I wanted the film to carry that kind of beauty. But I was cautious also not to make heroes out of them because I think they made the bad choice. The better choice would be to stick on and fight and
Yeah.
be outsider and be, you know, maybe in my dream was that people, when they see the film, they think they should have quit the military and become outsiders and become fighters against this kind of systematic. And I think even people who are supportive of the military and of the system of the Israeli military, that is a military of occupation as well, but even people who support that, Israelis who watch the film, they would find themselves identifying with the voice that tells these boys they should not and girls they should not be in the military.
Thank you. I will translate just a moment. L'ho ringraziato per i suoi, non solo questo film, ma anche il precedente bellissimo, Five Broken Cameras, e questo film sicuramente ci fa conoscere qualche cosa che molti di noi non sapevano. E gli ho chiesto se quelle voci dei diari, quelle che si sentono verso la fine, che dicono voglio che le mie parole siano conosciute, voglio che siano lette, che siano raccontate, che la mia storia rimanga, sanno quasi di una sorta di, nella morte, pur nella scelta, come lui dice, sbagliata del suicidio, almeno di una vittoria morale. E gli ho chiesto se questo poteva essere stato per lui una fonte di ispirazione, cioè raccontare appunto la loro storia. E la sua risposta è: la loro è stata sicuramente una scelta sbagliata, sarebbe stato meglio se fossero riusciti a vivere contrapponendosi a quel sistema anziché morirne all'interno. ma sicuramente leggendo quei diari ha letto moltissima poesia, moltissima bellezza e profondità che lo ha ispirato e che ha voluto cercare di inserire nel film, soprattutto la voce di questo ragazzo, di questo giovane poeta che si sente fin dall'inizio, fin dalla prima parte del film. Um, Another question is about you, your personal experience. How did you arrive to the choice of doing this movie? Is it related to your personal experience?
Yeah, I have so much to say, so I have to pick what to mention. Um, when I finished Five Broken Cameras in 2011, when I finished the work without having it out yet, I was really happy from my contribution regarding the voiceover because that was big part of my work. I'm a writer. A big part of my work is the writing aspect of making a film. And I wanted to make another film based on a voiceover after Five Broken Cameras. And when the second that I told myself that I need to handle with voiceover, immediately it sent me to the idea of making a story about military told from the voices of those who are objecting it, and then very fast in the brain, immediately it goes to suicide and those who could not take it anymore. Because I imagine that I'm gonna find a lot of beautiful and powerful and strong and words that no one dares to touch because there were not films about it. And so that was the first reason. I don't know if you want to translate that, but there's a second part.
Thank you. Sì, dopo aver fatto Five Broken Cameras, dove lui aveva scritto parte del film con la voce narrante, voleva scrivere un altro film, era affascinato da quest'idea della voce narrante, pensando proprio a un film sull'esercito. E pensandoci, voleva trovare le voci di chi obiettava, di chi non voleva entrare nell'esercito, e a quel punto ho pensato appunto a queste voci dei tanti ragazzi che nell'esercito ci sono entrati ma si sono suicidati, appunto si è focalizzato su questo progetto.
Yeah. So the reason it was very obvious to me that that's what I want to do was because of my personal story. Because when I was 18, I was not politicized. I didn't know anything about Palestinians, about occupation, about these kind of things. I grew up in the 90s. We had the peace agreement, their failure, a lot of bombing on the streets and bombing on bus. And so there's a lot of tension during these years when I was growing up. But I didn't really know about what does it mean to be occupied. I'm not sure even I've heard of the word occupation at all. There's no internet, and you know. But I had a strong sensitivity to my own education, and I felt growing up in Israel that it's a very morbid country that commemorates all the time the death and celebrates the death always also. And there's a lot of patriotism and a lot of militarism and all these stuff. I was very allergic to them. I was really rebellious against these kind of things. So when the time to do military service came, I was like, I don't want to do that. This is not me. I want to make films. I saw Cassavetes films I wanted to do. I saw Bertolucci films and I wanted to make films like that. I saw Godard's films. I wanted to make, I wanted to do other things than just to run after people that I don't know with my gun or something like that. But it's obligatory. So I managed to avoid not being a combatant, but I could not completely avoid not doing military service. So I had to be enrolled. And I was thinking, because I already was doing a little bit of film in high school, I was thinking maybe I'm going to find something more interesting, more positive and constructive to do. And the minute that I went into the military, I understood that this was just a huge mistake, and all my ideas that there is a way to do military in a constructive way, they completely broke. And I can tell more about it if after you translate.
Sì, e lui è cresciuto in un periodo in cui c'erano attacchi terroristici, c'era stato falliti tentativi di pace, però non aveva un'idea politica precisa, non sapeva niente di palestinesi, non aveva un'idea, non aveva un'idea. Però aveva un'idea di quello che non gli piaceva, dello Stato israeliano in cui stava crescendo, ossia questo patriottismo molto legato anche addirittura alla celebrazione della morte, non solo a ricordare i morti, ma proprio a continuamente celebrare i morti. E non gli piaceva questo aspetto e quando doveva andare a fare il militare non ne aveva la minima voglia. Lui voleva fare il regista, amava i film di alcuni grandi registi che ha nominato e quello è ciò che voleva fare, però è obbligatorio e quindi è andato a farlo pensando che si potesse magari farlo in una maniera diversa, più costruttiva, ma quando è arrivato lì si è reso conto che questa cosa assolutamente non era possibile, non c'era modo di farlo in maniera positiva e costruttiva.
Yeah. Um, but so I had a very harsh experiences the first days and the first week in the military, and very fast I started to realize that I don't want to be part of it and I want to go out. And you don't have ways to go out, especially after you're enrolled. You have three ways. Either you have a medical problem, either you have a mental medical problem, so a psychiatric problem, or you just refuse, which means you will go to prison and spend some months in prison, if not a year. I didn't want to go to prison. I didn't have a medical problem, so I had to find a way to create or enhance my mental state, which means I was depressed, I was under a lot of pressure, but now I needed to make it something very, very big and very dangerous in order to get released. So what it means, you go to the military psychologist if you manage to get an appointment and you try to convince them that you're depressed, that you're a danger to yourself. And it reaches to a moment where you tell this officer, um, because they don't listen to you, you finally get to tell them, I'm thinking about killing myself. And then the psychologist that met me just told, it doesn't, you go ahead, do it. We don't, he didn't care much. And I remember even shouting at him like, "My my blood is going to be on your hand," a little bit dramatic like that. And retrospectively, I think is they are used to that. They have a lot of like people like that who are suffering, who don't want to be or under pressure, and so they have to. And they have a quota. They cannot release everyone, so they have to pick who is playing and who is real. And I guess they thought I'm playing, so they didn't listen to me. So it took me four months until they actually started to understand that this guy is really not gonna do the military service and he's gonna go out. And only after 3 months I managed to release and actually not do my military service.
Uscire dall'esercito una volta che ci sei entrato è molto difficile, ci sono tre modi: o sei malato fisicamente, o sei mentalmente malato, disturbato, oppure devi decidere di lasciarlo, ma vai incontro al carcere. Lui non voleva andare in carcere, quindi ha cominciato a mostrare, diciamo, la sua depressione, i suoi problemi, a dire guardate che io mi toglierò la vita, ma all'inizio se ne fregavano, evidentemente erano abituati a questo tipo di comportamenti e cercano di smontare, diciamo, o di vedere chi fa finta e ci sono voluti 3 o 4 mesi per convincerli che effettivamente era così, che non avrebbe mai proseguito in quel servizio militare. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Maybe I could add a little more thing is it's there are a lot of experiences during these 3 months, and I think it's not just the pressure. It's not just that you are doing something that you don't want to or you don't believe to, but you really feel you're morally corrupted. Because when you come into the military, they tell you, "Oh, the military in Israel is very moral," and I didn't really believe it, but you kind of have another feeling that things are gonna be okay. And when you go into the military, you get completely another face of Israeli society that you don't know from before. Like in my school, no one would tell me it's good to kill Arabs, you have to go and kill Arabs and stuff like that. They would always have a more sophisticated and more like smart way and democratic. And in the military, things are very direct. And you really also get corrupted. One of the small stories I often tell is how when you lose things in the military, you discover that is actually your things are getting stolen by other people, other soldiers, and you go to the commander and you tell him people are stealing stuff because it cannot be, and then the commander tells me, this is how it is here. This is you have to steal back. That's what we do here. And this story just really stuck with me for many years. Why there's a system in the military that makes you learn to steal and the commanders tell you that it's okay to steal. You understand it's all connected somehow to the things, the missions that they will have to do. They have to corrupt you as a person and you have to do corrupted things. You have to control Palestinian population. It's a civilians. It's a horrible things. I'm not even talking about genocide and things are going on now, but just the ongoing occupation of other people is a very corrupted. So you need to reach to that kind of level that you don't care for what you're doing and for your values. And this process was even though I was not even a combatant, I was not supposed to be enrolled in that kind of position, but it's just the mentality that is around. And that made me really feel that this is just something morally I don't want to be part of. Even I knew that I'm not going to be a combatant.
Ehm, Uno dei problemi più grossi è stato la corruzione morale che ha vissuto all'interno dell'esercito, pur non essendo un combattente. Quello che ha potuto constatare è che mentre prima sì c'era una propaganda evidentemente, ma non era una propaganda che fosse così moralmente deprecabile, non era così evidente, diciamo, l'ingiustizia morale. Invece una volta che sei lì dentro ti rendi conto che c'è appunto una immoralità così forte, tu devi uccidere dei civili per arrivare a questo, è un po' tutta la tua morale che viene corrotta, al punto che racconta sempre questo aneddoto che si era accorto che gli rubavano le cose, è andato dal comandante e ha detto ma mi rubano le cose, come facciamo? E fa niente, ruba anche tu, perché qua si fa così. Cioè c'è un superamento del livello morale totale che dilaga, insomma, anche in queste maniere. Non abbiamo molto tempo, io non vorrei monopolizzare tutte le domande, ma non posso farvene fare tante perché il nostro tempo a disposizione è breve. Però se c'è qualcuno che ha una domanda pronta, gli passo il microfono. Vediamo un po'. Siate rapidi però. Siete ancora tutti... Ok. Sì, dimmela in italiano, io la traduco. Mhm. Ok. There is a question about the production of the movie that is Danish, if we're not wrong.
Yeah.
And this person is asking if whether you had problems to be produced in Israel.
Yeah. In my work in general, there's always complication with working in Israel. And my solution was always in films to get international support for my work because the international support makes the Israeli industry feel, um, oh, he gets support from the outside and it doesn't look good on us. Actually, not for this film, but for my previous film, Not Five Broken Cameras, I had another film called Mixed Feelings. Um, a head of a film fund in Israel told me directly that we have to support you because you got Norwegian support, and it doesn't look good on us. So there is always this play of having international and I had, to be fair, I had support of Israeli film fund for this film from the start. but it's really important to have that back because, for example, with the Channel 8 that supported us, Israeli channel. So there is Israeli production. There's a channel. There's a film fund. It's not only Danish. Um, so for the channel at one point saw a cut, an early cut, and they were horrified. They thought is really too heavy from what we thought. We didn't think it's going to be so hard, and they were really thinking that I should give back the money. So it was a big pressure on me. And then my Danish producer said, if that happens, it's okay. It's not that big, but we still can find other money in abroad. So it's important for me to have to build international support to be able to get Israeli. And I am trying always to get Israeli support because I want my films to be seen in Israel. And I think getting support from Israel makes it more exposed to the Israeli public, generally speaking. But I think it's changing very fast. The film, I started to work on it 10, 12 years ago, this work. I think if I would do this film nowadays, I might not get the support because the country is changing and the film funds now and the television now they would not produce such films. They would not to film like Five Broken Cameras. Also, this would never get the support in Israel now because things are changing than before.
In realtà ci sono stati dei finanziamenti israeliani nei suoi film, anche in questo all'inizio, ma lui ha sempre cercato una rete di produttori internazionale, perché in questo modo è come se Israele si sente un po', beh, insomma, dobbiamo mettere dei soldi anche noi, se no sembriamo i cattivi della situazione. Però in questo caso, per esempio, in questo film all'inizio c'è stata questa produzione israeliana, però quando hanno visto le prime scene sono rimasti molto scossi, hanno detto no, ma questa roba è troppo forte, che figura ci facciamo, cioè non è quello che ci aspettavamo. E perciò ha rischiato, gli hanno chiesto indietro i soldi e la produzione danese ha detto va bene, se ti chiedono indietro i soldi possiamo in qualche modo trovare degli altri fondi da altre parti. Quindi appunto la rete internazionale è molto importante, per lui è importante anche trovare una produzione israeliana anche per poi avere una distribuzione israeliana. Però adesso le cose si stanno facendo più complicate, cioè adesso non sembra che ci possano essere più dei finanziamenti per lui nel suo paese. Credo che siamo arrivati agli sgoccioli, però farei ancora almeno una domanda, farei fare una domanda. Ecco qua, arrivo. Te la faccio fare al microfono così la sentono anche gli altri e poi la traduciamo se vuoi.
Quale sarà il prossimo progetto?
The question is about your next project.
Uh, After I made it's going to be a short answer. After I made this work, it was such a dark work and pessimistic work, and I finished it before this war, and I was in a very low mood of feeling failure, and when the 7th of October happened, I filmed a lot in around Gaza area, and so a lot of these kids that you see in the beginning of the film, they were under attack. In fact, one of the children that is filmed in the film was killed by Hamas in the 7th of October, and they are older. They were older, so he was 15 when he was killed, and our sound guy also was assassinated because he lived in the area. So I was already in a very dark place, and then when this event happened, and of course the 7th of October, the personal losses that we had, and then of course the big genocide that is happening and where Israeli society is going, that is towards ethnical cleansing and a real hard situation. So I feel I cannot function. I cannot do anything right now that as actually no one listens anymore. The films are not being seen enough in Israel. I have no audience there. So a film like that has really not been seen enough to justify 10 years of work. So I said to myself that for now, for a while, I'm going to do films about other things until I figure out a way that I think I can do something that can be relevant, that can have a real effect, because it doesn't work what I've been doing.
La risposta è abbastanza amara, direi. Dopo aver finito questo film, come ben sapete, la situazione in Israele è andata peggiorando fino appunto agli eventi degli ultimi anni, e che hanno precipitato appunto la situazione da entrambe le parti. Ci sono due ragazzini che sono nel film che sono morti, uno è morto per mano di Hamas, e d'altra parte è iniziato un genocidio che tutti conosciamo. E quindi in questa situazione in cui i suoi film, fra l'altro, non vengono proiettati, non c'è possibilità di farli vedere, lui non se la sente di iniziare un altro progetto su questi temi perché non funzionerebbe. E quindi per ora ha provato insomma una grande depressione, e per ora si sta orientando verso progetti di tipo diverso su altri temi, in attesa che gli arrivi, diciamo, una possibilità di poter di nuovo dire qualche cosa su questo. Per il momento, appunto, non ci riesce. Farei un grandissimo applauso.
Thank you for having the film. And
Thank you, Mr. Davidi. It's really important for us. There should be also another movie that should arrive in Italy, I think in June or July, Happy Holiday, that is also telling some of the things that you say in your movie about the children, propaganda in the children's schools, and also young people who refuse to serve in the army. Very interesting. So these things are starting to resonate, I think, abroad, where people can know things like this. So thank you really very much for your movie and for your work, and be proud of your work, because I know it's very difficult now, but it's very important also. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to have been here with us. Thank you for your time, and we really hope to have you here in person sometime for this movie or another movie. Thank you. Bye bye. Grazie Guy Davidi, e grazie a tutti per essere stati qua. Ci vediamo per un prossimo film, e speriamo di averlo con noi fisicamente di persona la prossima volta. E grazie naturalmente a tutte le associazioni che hanno contribuito a organizzare questa serata. Come vi dicevo, No Other Land avrà ancora qualche altra proiezione, adesso a memoria non mi ricordo, però guardate il programma del Beltrade. Vi chiedo per cortesia di lasciare la sala abbastanza rapidamente, perché abbiamo rubato un pochino di tempo alla iniziativa successiva. Purtroppo al Beltrade abbiamo spesso i tempi un po' stretti, però grazie davvero del vostro tempo e della vostra attenzione.